This is Britton Colquitt, Super Bowl 50 champion, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA, Prime Angus, and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Wait till you try their short rib of beef as well. Those Wagyu short rib beef and burgers, half-pound burgers that is, are the best I've ever had. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner, 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. All right, a big welcome in everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, WOW, Charter, and independent cable affiliates. Thanks for joining us, as well as everybody on Hotel TV in applicable markets. Actually, that's really all markets. It just happened to be whether it's in your hotel or not. And also on all streaming platforms, as well as Facebook on Chicago Food Favorites. Check out Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook, a fun group about food, your favorite restaurants, your favorite recipes, your favorite foods. Make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. And by the way, we've teamed up with Vacation Buddies in offering you, the listener, something fun, something exciting. And listen to this. If you can answer this very basic trivia question, you may have a shot at 2 nights here in Vegas or Branson, Missouri, or Orlando, Florida, if you can answer this simple question. Which NBA superstar won 6 NBA championships? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-577 right now for a shot at a couple of nights in Vegas, Branson, Missouri, or in Orlando, Florida. Which NBA superstar won 6 NBA titles? A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? 888-576-5777. Again, Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with the station, but they sure want to get you out to Vegas for a couple of nights, Branson, Missouri, or in Orlando, Florida. Call them right now, 888-576-5777. And of course, we extend out the applause just for them and everybody listening in. You know, I extend it out for a few reasons. And the first one, it's, first of all, a little bit of appreciation for the fans out there, those listening, all those loyal listeners. And also, I'm applauding you for going to these expensive sporting events and being able to afford it. I don't know how people can afford going to these games these days because they are so damn expensive. So in today's show, we're going to take a look at the average salaries for these players, some by position and some just by sport. And this is probably going to surprise a lot of people. I mean, look, I'm a former ball player, and I look at this and say, well, geez, I got paid next to nothing when I played. And I'm looking at the baseball salaries. Position players, and of course your pitchers and your designated hitters, and it just doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense. It really doesn't. And so as we look at the baseball deals, the baseball contracts, we'll just say all positions, and look, all positions, I have to tell you folks, it is alarming to say the least as to what these players actually make. It is disgusting when you look at the numbers. It's an abomination when you look at what they make and what you have to pay to get in to go see a ball game and how much money a family of four has to pay to get in to go see these ball games. I mean, it is straight lunacy. So let's think about this. Let's just take the top 10 players in baseball as far as salary goes. And we know Juan Soto with his ridiculous $765 million deal, 15 years, AAV of $51 million, which makes no sense to me. I mean, he's above average for sure. But I got to tell you, folks, this is crazy, crazy, crazy money. Now, I want you to pay attention to the positions. He's a right fielder. Ohtani with his ridiculous AAV of $70 million. That's that $700 million over 10 years. That's the most lucrative deal in all of baseball. And he is a designated hitter. Now, Vladimir Guerrero comes in third place on this list of lunacy. As a first baseman, he has a $500 million contract, AAV of $35,714,286 per year. Right, it is number 4, Mike Trout, a right fielder. He's in the middle of that 12-year, $426 million and a half deal, $35.5 million a year. Mookie Betts, right field. He is in the middle of a $365 million deal, $30 million a year. Aaron Judge, a center fielder, and he's in the middle of a $360 million, $40 million a year deal. Manny Machado at number 7, a third baseman. Finally, our first actual real position player when it comes to the infield, right? So he plays the hot corner while Vladimir Guerrero plays the cold corner. And so at number 7, Manny Machado, third base, 11 years, $350 million, $31,818 per year. Francisco Lindor, shortstop, our first shortstop on the list. Number 8, $341 million, $34,100,000 per year. Fernando Tatis Jr., shortstop, $340, $24.5 million a year. And number 10, Bryce Harper, first base, 13 years, $330, $25.5 million per year. Think about that, folks. First of all, I want you to just think about the idea of the average money. They get paid every other week. And imagine the paychecks.
Show me the money!
That's right. Why do I boo them? Why do I boo them? Well, look, I'm not booing them based on talent. I'm booing them because the system is being gouged. But why does it matter? I mean, look, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, you could take the deals all the way down. I mean, I have to tell you, some of these other deals, as they start getting bigger and bigger, Ellie De La Cruz could be the first billion-dollar player. We'll see. Why am I talking about this? I'll tell you why. Because in baseball alone, let's go from the lowest position player salaries to the highest position player salaries. The lowest position player is the catcher, who makes $2,333,354 per year. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll clear our throat to that one. $2,333,000. So they make 2 1/3, and it is the toughest position to play on the baseball field. Coming in second from the bottom, that is, as a position player, it is third base, the second toughest position to play on the baseball field, at $3,893,751. Now, how could the two toughest positions in baseball be less than, I'm not even going to give you the number. How could they be less than, well, let's just say what a right fielder makes. That's right. They're less than what a right fielder makes. They're less than a first baseman. They're less than the designated hitter on top of it. That's crazy. I can't even imagine this. So the two toughest positions are the two lowest paid. Now, let's go up the ladder to our next lower paid position. Now, this one, left field. Left field should actually be lower. It should be the lowest because left field is arguably the easiest position to play on the baseball field. And I would say second base is close to it because second base, They can't get spiked anymore from somebody trying to take them out from a double play. They can't get taken out anymore from a double play attempt. And so second base and left field are basically hand in hand in two very easy positions to play. Left field, they really don't have to throw far, and they do get some actions, but they don't get a whole lot of hot action like a shortstop. So it is the catcher at the lowest, the third base at the second lowest, the third lowest is the left fielder. But guess what? The shortstop makes less than the second baseman. Another tough position to play. They see a ton of action. $4,283,000. Mind you, the second baseman makes $4,564,000. Well, how the hell does that work? Second base is so easy to play, just like left field. Whereas a shortstop, I mean, they're all over the place. And they make less than a left fielder, or better yet, less than a second baseman. They make less than the right fielder for sure. But how in the world does the second baseman make more than shortstop? I'll never know. All right, so as we said, the second baseman makes $4,564, and then as we move up the food chain, it is the center fielder, which is the toughest position to play in the outfield. They make $122,000 more per year than the second baseman. Tell you what, getting bang for your buck, the center fielder, boy, that's a real bang for buck, just like with the shortstop. When we come back, we're going to finish this up. You're not going to believe this, folks. The whole thing is complete and utter idiocy and lunacy altogether. Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. Lots more to come.
I gotta barbecue your handy
I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average and best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. All right, and a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast, including our friends over in Atlanta. Thanks for waking up with us on WDJY 99.1 FM over in Auburn, Alabama, from Columbus, Georgia, all the way over to Montgomery. Thanks for joining us on home of the Atlanta Braves, WAUD 1230 on the AM dial, as well as everybody throughout the heartland out to the West Coast, driving up and down Interstate 15 on their way to Las Vegas or from Las Vegas out to Southern California on 101.5 FM, 107.3 FM, Highway Country Radio. Thanks for joining us there all the way up through L.A., and up to Seattle, to Anchorage, down to Honolulu on CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the New York Yankees, the Alabama Crimson Tide, and, of course, the San Francisco 49ers, plus everybody else on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, WOW, Spectrum, and independent cable affiliates in select markets, Hotel TV, and, of course, on all streaming platforms, Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, YouTube, Stitcher, Deezer, etc., and so forth, plus all your social medias. Boy, and the Mars rover as well. All right, now in case you're just tuning in and you missed the trivia question in the first segment, we're going to repeat it real quick so you have a shot as well at picking up a couple of nights here in Las Vegas or in Orlando, Florida, or even Branson, Missouri. Which NBA superstar won 6 NBA championships? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? Again, is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer to who won 6 NBA titles, out of those 4 superstar players, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Our friends over at Vacation Buddies want to give you a couple of nights in either Branson, Missouri, Las Vegas, right here in Las Vegas, or in Orlando, Florida. Give them a call right now. They're not affiliated with this station, but they want to give you a couple of nights. So call them, 888-576-5777. All right, picking up where we left off in the last segment, we were going over these salaries by position on the baseball diamond, which I gotta tell you, folks, as a former ball player, this makes no sense to me whatsoever. How in the world can the catcher be the lowest position player, the lowest paid position player? $2,333,000. The third baseman, which is the second most difficult position to play on the baseball field, $3,893,000, in case you're just tuning in. And as we go up the ladder, the left fielder was the next one in line at $4,001,986. That's right. These are the average salaries, mind you. So next was the shortstop at $4,283,000, and believe it or not, making more money was the second baseman over the shortstop and all the others at $4.5 million. And the center fielder makes $122,000 more than the second baseman, but the center fielder has one hell of a job, rather than the second baseman basically having one ball hit over to them probably every other inning at best. And then as we get beyond the center fielder at $4,686,000, now we're starting to get into the big bucks. The right fielder, yes, the right fielder makes $5,588,000. That's right, over $5.5 million. So, all these people are complaining, well, we don't want little Billy or little Susie playing right field because that's where no one hits the ball and all this other crap. Well, listen, in case you're wondering, they make more than the catcher, the third baseman, the shortstop, the left fielder, the second baseman, and the center fielder as well. That's right.
Show me the money!
And I'll show you a right fielder that's overpaid, if you know what I mean. That's right. I'm sorry. The right fielders are way overpaid. All these guys are way overpaid. Anyway, so out of the position players, believe it or not, it's the first baseman. Yes, The first baseman that makes the most money out of all the position players. $7,870,000. Complete idiocy, lunacy, call it what you will. And now, let's just make things a little bit worse. Now, how about the guys that don't even play a position out there? How about the designated hitter? What do you think the DH makes? $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million? What do you think? How about this one? How about $7,330,000? That is complete idiocy. Pick another word. I don't know. I don't even have another word for this one. I just think that is dumb. It's just plain dumb. So mind you, the DH is only out there. They're hitting the ball basically 4 times an inning, or 4 times an inning. Well, it depends on what team. 4 times a game, right? And so, 4 times a game, making almost $8 million. That's stupid. Okay, so let's go to the starting pitchers. The average starting pitcher makes $5,757,000. And they're essentially pitching 1 day a week. That's right. 1 day a week. And in today's time, God forbid they go more than 5 innings. No, we don't want them to go more than 5 innings, do we? No. Well, guess what? That 1 time a week. So basically, if you look at it this way, if they're averaging about 5 innings a game, well, here's the cold hard reality of it, right? So let's take our proverbial 5 innings a game. So let's do this. Well, let's have some fun with this. We'll go 57, 086 divided by 5. These pitchers, if they're throwing 5 innings, which is really the average start, they make for every, you're not going to believe this, every out, just for making 1 out, $383,000, 805. So 383, almost $384,000 per out. That's ridiculous. I mean, that is just straight up stupid. Oh, yeah. So that's really what it comes to. So per inning, right? So you take that number and you times 3. They're basically making $1,151,000 per inning pitched. How about those 3 pitch innings, right? Boy, those are always fun. But can you imagine? And then we'll go to the relief pitchers. All right. Now, the relief pitchers, they see less action in total innings than the starting pitcher. But the relief pitchers, right? So they make $2,051,544. Now they're going to see approximately, we'll say, 2 outings per week on average. And let's just call the relief pitcher, let's just say the closers. So essentially, they're going to have a couple of innings pitched per week in the same situation. So we'll take that $2,051,000. We're going to divide it by 2. They make $1 million an inning in this example, right? And so in contrast to the $383,000 per strikeout that they make as a starting pitcher, the relief pitcher, oh boy, they make a big drop in $42,000 per strikeout. We'll call it $342,000 per out, not per strikeout, just per out. So go ahead, a 3-pitch inning, there's a cool $1 million, no problem. Go ahead and make some big money. And here's the problem with all this. The numbers are so out of whack. So I just gave you a heavy dose of what it looks like to be a pitcher and what the cost is. It's essentially over $1 million an inning is what these guys are getting paid, because they're not pitching 9 innings anymore. They're not pitching 8 innings anymore. Now they're pitching 5, the starting pitchers. And, of course, your relief pitchers are basically getting 1 to 2 outings a week for the most part. Otherwise, there's load management. We can't have them out there and all this other garbage. So a heavy dose of reality is you say, well, why is this important? Well, it translates, first of all, to the ticket prices. It translates to what does it take to get into the game for a family of four. I'm not going to go through the numbers. We've done this one before. It's really expensive to take your family or a family of four to a ball game. Mind you, they have 81 home games too. That's a lot of home games. So obviously the owners are making a little bit of money there. But where are they making the most money? That's really what this show is about. That's right. It is all about, oh yeah, you're going to like this one, folks. It's the TV contracts. Baseball, Major League Baseball's media rights. First of all, they're on the outs of this deal. They're going to have a bigger deal. The league's current broadcast deals are worth a whopping $120 billion. That's what's going on right now. And they don't like that deal. They're going to go ahead and blow that deal up. Just like we're going to blow it up. Yes! They don't want that deal. No, they don't want that deal. So they're going to go out and get a bigger deal. And wait till you see what the numbers are outside of Major League Baseball and where they could go with these. I mean, look, there's a lot of games in baseball being played. $120 billion? That's not enough. Because you think about it, what are the salaries? And the salaries are essentially half of the TV deals. So why wouldn't the owner make the deal? Back here in a few minutes on The Circus. This is nuts. Don't go anywhere. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it out here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time. That's 800-950-2049.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. B-E-E-P-I-N autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows, which can be found on all streaming platforms as well as social media too. Also, make sure to check out the partners page. Lots of great partners over there. Our favorite is Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. Check out alsbeef.com if you can't make it over there for some great food. That's alsbeef.com, and you could read all about the invention of and the creation of the Italian beef sandwich 117 years ago. Al's Beef has been in business since 1938, serving it up, and boy, they're good. If you have a chance to get over there, if you're in greater Chicagoland, check them out again, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. Otherwise, visit alsbeef.com. All right, welcome back to everybody on TV and radio. You know who you are. Everybody's streaming as well. And in the last two segments, talking a little bit about baseball and these ridiculous salaries and how it affects everybody. But remember, it always comes back to the TV contract. So when you look at these ridiculous contracts and you say, all right, well, the TV deal's worth $120 billion. So the teams get a bunch of money. Well, guess what? It seems like about half of that money goes to the players. So it's all about what? Advertising. Advertising. Without the ads, these salaries are not possible. And so even if players are out there performing, they're doing great or they're not doing great, maybe they're just sitting down, whatever it is, it's the fans that watch the ads on television. And they see the ads because the advertising companies pay huge monies, better yet, the sponsors pay the ad companies big money to get the baseball money paid. So everybody waits. You look at those advertising agencies, right? So they're advertising for company Q, whatever that means. I don't know. Company X, company A, I don't know. Anyway, so they say, okay, we're going to market your product to Major League Baseball, and we're going to try to get the fans to buy your products by watching the games and all this other stuff. So they use all these influencers, all these people, all these players, all these special whatever the hell they're using, and it's all about ads. So half of the ad money ends up being the TV contract, if you will, and then it goes to paying those players, and the other half goes to what? It goes to the owners. So really, these teams are making crazy money. The players are making stupid money, and you can't be mad at them, but at the same time, you're like, where was that when I was playing? I mean, we got paid nothing. But then again, that was 100 years ago. But just understanding how the money flows is half the battle. Most people don't understand. And when we look at these contracts, like I gave you the top 10 Major League Baseball contracts, I mean, those were nuts. So if you think the baseball contracts are a little bit out of whack, well, you know what? Let's do this. Let's take a look at the NFL and what their contracts look like. Because the NFL, mind you, they play a hell of a lot less games. Major League Baseball, they play 162 games. That's a lot of games. And you ask yourself, well, okay, what are we talking about now? All right, let's take a look at Major League, or better yet, the NFL contracts, kind of like we did in the last one. Let's take a look at the top 10 contracts in the NFL. Well, guess what? Let's just go all the way down to 15 because they're all quarterbacks. That's right. They're all quarterbacks. And the numbers get to be crazy from whether it's Mahomes or Allen or Joe Burrow making crazy money or this guy or that guy. Just the numbers, again, the numbers are crazy, but they're all quarterbacks. But when you look at the salaries, this is the average salaries. Let's just say for the 2024 season. So I can't go in any, well, maybe I can. I'll try to do this. I'll try to go from the lowest to highest. All right. And so as I'm looking, mind you, these are the average salaries per player per team. So before we do anything, we're going to start this out with a round of boos because I don't like it and you shouldn't either because the ticket prices are too high. Okay. Now that we got the boos out of the way, yeah. We're going to start out with a long snapper. A long snapper makes $1 million and $1,069,016 per season on average. That's last season. So moving up from there, as we scan up the list, it looks like it's going to be the punter. The punter makes $1.5 million per season. The running back, believe it or not, the running back is the third lowest. No, strike that. The fullback is. The fullback makes $1,724,444 per season. That's the average fullback. Most teams don't even carry a fullback these days. So let's go to running back. Remember, fullback was $1,724,000. The running back are $1,789,000. That's right. The running back, $1,789,000. Yeah, wrap your head around that one. Now, as we move on, it's the corners. The cornerbacks make what? $1,999,348, so $652 less than $2 million. That's what the average pay is for them. So moving on to the tight ends, who make $2,055,000 per season. And why are we talking about the tight ends? Because they're right in the middle of this, and they're over $2 million. Mind you, the tight ends get paid more than the corners, more than the running backs. That's where I'm going with that one, right? And so now you jump into the safeties. The safeties are at $2,196,000. And so that $2,196,000 is an interesting number because they don't distinguish between free safety and strong safety. So, and I'll tell you why I'm talking about that in just a moment here. So believe it or not, it's the kicker, the place kicker at $2,228,000. This place kicker makes more than the safeties, more than the tight ends, more than the corners, more than the running backs, fullbacks, long snapper, etc. That's right. That's a crazy idea for the place kickers to make that. I guess they do score the most on the team, though. All right. However, the place kickers, believe it or not, on average make $49,000 less than the wide receivers. That's right. That's the average salary. That's right. The place kickers make $49,000 less per year on average than the wide receivers. Wrap your head around that one. Tell me that makes 0 sense to you. At $2,277,000. Right? As we move up the ladder, let's go to the center. The center makes $2,394,000. That's right. The center makes more than the wide receivers. Oh, and it gets even better. All right. If the center makes more, well, who else makes more? Oh, that's right. The defensive tackles do. And so do, the defensive tackles at, $2 million, we'll call it just under $2.5 million a year. The defensive ends we're going to get to. It's the guards. Now, the guards make $2.5 million. So actually the guards make more than defensive tackles, right? So you want to say, why are the offensive linemen and all those people in front of the quarterback, why do the defensive line and linebackers want to get at them probably more than anything? Well, because they don't get paid as much. So it's the guard that makes $2.5 million. And then it is, the outside linebackers get paid $3,703. So we'll call it $3,700,000. But the defensive tackles only make $2,496,000. The defensive ends make under $300,000. And so the proverbial edge rushers, which are really defensive ends, make $3,234,000. Somehow the outside linebackers make $500,000 more. And the inside linebackers for clogging the middle make $3,856,000. But that's not really where this is. See, where I'm really going with this, and I'll get there in just a second here. Look, you have the right tackles make $5,128,000, big number, right? The quarterbacks on average make $4,855,000, not those crazy contracts that I mentioned before. But it's the left tackle. The left tackle makes $8,952,000 per year. And why is that? It's real simple. The left tackle does what? Protects the blind side of the right-handed quarterback. That's why. And so they, believe it or not, are the highest paid on average position on the football field in today's game.
Show me the money! right!
All right. And you wouldn't really think that it was the offensive lineman, but guess what? It's out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Basically, out of the top 10, it's 4 out of the top 10 are offensive linemen or center or whatnot. They are the most expensive players on the field, and rightfully so. You look at the Chicago Bears, what they do, and where they're going. You say, well, someone's got to protect Caleb Williams. Someone's got to. Well, the Bears address that. And maybe that's the reason why these guys are paid more on average, because they're protecting the quarterbacks. Look at Joe Burrow with all his money. It's $55 million a year. He's got to be protected. Same thing with all these other quarterbacks in the league. So listen, this does make a little sense, but let's get into briefly how much the NFL actually makes and where the money goes when we come back here on The Circus. Don't go anywhere.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem?
The contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Again, folks, make sure you check out the sportscircus.com for upcoming guests, prior guests. And that is found on our featured guest schedule. And we have some interesting announcements coming up soon. I can't tell you what they are, but really big news coming up for the Sports Circus. Also, make sure you check out the store. Across the top, there's a tab at thesportscircus.com. Click on store, and there's a great page over there with hats, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, coats, coffee mugs, travel mugs, mouse pads, pillows, you name it. They're all there, American-made products with the Sports Circus logo on them. And in many cases, it's embroidered on the clothing, and it's silk screened on the non-clothing items. Really good stuff. The sportscircus.com store. Check it out. Make sure you mention my name, Ringmaster Sal, for an extra 10% off of anything that you purchase at thesportscircus.com. And of course, a shameless plug for the circus. Hey, we got to pay bills too. All right. Back here, welcome back to everybody on radio and TV. Again, you know who you are. And in the last segment, we're talking a little bit about what the contracts were for the players, or how much the average salaries were, I should say, for the players in the NFL. We had the baseball in the first couple segments, and we said that the baseball contract was about $120 million. Now, mind you, they have a lot of games to be televised, and they don't like that deal, so they're tearing that one up, and they're going to put a new one together. How about the NFL? The NFL, of course, they have that $111 billion media rights deal. Now, it's the biggest in the United States, and of course, it has an out clause, of course, after many years, I guess after the 28-29 season, it could blow the deal up. But let's face it, man, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of lettuce. And where's that lettuce going? Again, they pay these players so much money. Do you really think that that's passed along to the fans? I would say yes. Do you think that the owners are making a lot of money? Yes. And do you think they should? Yes, they should, because they're the ones that put the money up in the first place to buy the teams, because without the owners, we wouldn't have the teams, and without the teams, you wouldn't have the players, and you wouldn't have all that extra money floating around. But again, folks, it always comes back to what? It comes back to the TV contracts and the ads that drive the TV contracts. Think about the idea that the last Super Bowl brought in more than $800 million in ad sales alone. That was for Fox. And Fox paid $2.2 billion for the NFL rights in 2021. And of course, that $800 million represents 36% of the deal. They already got back a third of their investment, and they're still up to win. They still have a couple of more Super Bowls, and the numbers are going to be much larger than the previous. And so as you think about these Super Bowls and the money that's made in them, you think about this salary cap and all this other stuff. Where does it end? I'll tell you where it ends. Because you're wondering, well, how could the teams afford to pay these players? Well, what happens is it's kind of like the inflation spiral. So the inflation spiral keeps chasing. So it's prices chasing dollars, chasing prices. And you say, well, where does it end? It ends when people stop watching, when people stop buying the products that are being advertised. That's the only way the public has any control over any of this. If the public says, we're tired of this, maybe there's something else. And I think some of these sports are getting a little bit bent out of shape at the pickleball players, because the pickleball players is kind of like a giant game of ping pong. It's not tennis, but it's not ping pong, but it's pickleball. And so when you think about that, they're taking audience away, taking people away that would be buying those pieces, apparently those products and whatnot from the football, basketball, baseball, hockey, whatever. And so the advertisers are just simply diverting now. Now pickleball is getting more and more visible. Why? Because those people that have migrated over to play pickleball and to watch pickleball, now those same advertisers are basically hedging their bets on that sport as well. And I will call it a sport because you can't really drink a beer and play it at the same time, if you know what I mean. So that's how I define if something is a sport or not. If you could drink a beer and do it, it's not a sport. It's more of a pastime, kind of like bowling. But anyhow, as I look at the dollars as they flow, you say, well, I don't want to pay $1,000 for my family of four to go to a baseball game. Well, stop watching the ads. Stop buying the products. If you buy different products, that means the TV money will dry up because the ad money will dry up, which means the league money will dry up, which means that it'll drive the salaries lower, which eventually will force the owners to drive the ticket prices down and concession down. They have to bring it down because if nobody's showing up, who the hell's going to buy it? Well, you have to incentivize people. People are greedy and they want more. They think more is better. So, hey, the hot dog, here, I'll give you an example. Over here in Las Vegas, to go to a hockey game, a beer at T-Mobile Arena, from what I remember from my last game, it was $18. $18 for a cup of your favorite beverage. We'll call it XYZ beer, whatever that is. Okay, so that said, well, what does it cost them? It costs them about, maybe $1, maybe $1.25. With help, maybe $2. All right, how much profit are they making? You've got, that's right, you got a cup, so that's maybe another 25 cents. Anyway, labor out the door, maybe $4. They're still making 4+ times the revenue on it. There's a heavy dose of reality, 4+ times. And you wonder, even the mini marts and stuff like that, when you go to the gas station, you think of how much money a gas station makes. All right, well, the gas station, they say, well, you're killing us on gas prices. Actually, they're not. That's the funny thing about it. The gas stations make their money on what? Believe it or not, they make their money on food. Those awful hot food items that have been sitting there seemingly for a month, right? They make money on those. They make money from all the alcohol sales. A lot of money on alcohol sales. The cold drink sales, the coffees, all those people stop and, I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee from my favorite mini mart and whatnot. Well, guess what? Every time you do that, you're making them hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. So the real money that's made in the gas stations is not at the gas pump. No, they don't really make that much. In fact, the food prices, they make more off of food and liquor than they do from the fuel itself. It's kind of like going to Sam Club. I'll go to Sam Club and I'll get myself one of those hot rotisserie chickens for $4.97. So they're using that as a loss leader to bring you in. They're going to lose money on it. Well, they're not really losing money. They're probably breaking even or making a little bit. But the reality is they're killing you on everything else. I mean, because who goes to those wholesale warehouses, that or Costco or whatever, and who walks out of there with a bill of less than $100? I went with my brother one time. I needed to get some grapes. I wanted to get some black grapes. Black grapes are good. And so he said, all right, I want to pick up one item. He needs to get some bathroom tissue or something. Okay, 2 hours later, we walk out of there. He's got a gigantic cart that is overflowing, and his bill was $464. This is exactly what happens at the mini marts. This is what happens at the ball games, the hockey games, the football games, the basketball games, whatever the hell. This is the same thing that happens. Just when you think you're in $1,000 for 4 tickets to take your family to the game, oh, guess what? Now you've got parking. Oh, you forgot about that one. You've got concession. You've got souvenirs. Oh, yeah, you got all that. And guess what? You're going to get thirsty along the way, so maybe you might get an extra adult beverage here or there. They are going to clean up on that. How do you make the prices go down? You make the prices go down by stop watching and stop attending and stop buying the advertised products, because they watch the sales. They look at the algorithms to see what the sales are like and what the ads are like. Don't click through on your links, because they use click-through traffic to gauge what is effective and what is not effective. Hey, we do the same thing on our website, but we're not advertising a bunch of products. This is a fun show. TheSportsCircus.com is a good website that has good information also. But we're not trying to sell a bunch of things. I mean, the store, of course, but we don't really advertise it outside of once in a while we'll do an announcement here on the show. But in reality, we want you to call our friends at Vacation Buddies. You know why? Because we want you to have a couple of nights in Vegas, a couple of nights in Branson, Missouri, a couple of nights in Orlando, Florida. We want you to call 888-576-5777. Take those nights. Why? Because everybody benefits from it. Me personally, I don't benefit physically one penny from it. I call it out because I want to call it out. But more importantly, everybody down the road makes something, and you, the listener, gets a couple of free nights in a really nice property in a great location. That's how you've got to look at it, folks. And see, this is how the whole advertising world goes around and around. And if you stop going and you stop watching, I know it's tough to, but you stop clicking through and you stop the madness, then the teams are not going to make so much money. They can't pay the players that much, and the salaries eventually go down. So ultimately, the fans win if you rebel a little bit, and that's why they say boycott, boycott, boycott. Well, when they boycott, there's a strategy to it, especially in today's time with all social media and all the television and the radio and whatnot. So everybody listening right now on the radio, you're driving listening to this, chances are. You could be sitting at home listening to this, tuned in on your favorite station across America, or you could be at home watching the television and watching this. And you're hearing me say the same thing. You're seeing me motion like a madman because I'm very animated on camera. But what are we trying to do? We're trying to make life more affordable for our families and our friends and our life. And let's face it, life is really expensive these days. And when you look at what these players get paid, it almost creates a little bit of animosity. Like, why should they get paid crazy money? When I played ball, I didn't get paid hardly anything. I played truly for the love of the game. These players today, I have to say, a lot of them are a bunch of prima donnas. They get overpaid. And what's really awful is that the money they get paid, well, what happens to that money? Well, it just goes into an account. They blow the money. They do what they're doing. And yeah, they do contribute a little bit to the economy. But more importantly, they don't contribute back to the fans. They charge for autographs. They charge for this. They charge for selfies. They charge for everything. And it's really awful in the grand scheme of things. I just don't like it. And folks, if you don't like the idea of paying for pictures with your heroes or your autographs or whatever, when I was a kid, I never had to pay for it. We just waited for the players to get out of the stadium. For example, at Wrigley Field, we would stand over there on Addison and Clark, right next to the parking lot where the players came out, and they would sign whatever we wanted to sign. But in today's time, signatures are worth hundreds or thousands of dollars right now. And the whole thing is a complete abomination. So that's my soapbox for today. That's going to do it for today. Hopefully you learned a little bit of something about these TV contracts. It is a complete and utter ripoff, especially if you're subscribing to those packages to watch your favorite team. Listen, folks, watch them online. It's cheaper. All right, folks, that's going to do it. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you in 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.